Hello, everyone. Welcome to Monetize Your Mission. I'm your host, Rita Joyan, and welcome to this particular interview that I've been so looking forward to because I have with me a gentleman that I've been following his work for quite some time, and here we are on our summit together where I get to pick his brain and look at exactly what he's done to find what he's good at, and he's pretty good at what he does, and how he's been able to monetize it consistently and show others to do the same. So today I've got with me Sohail Khan, and this is what Sohail does. Sohail is a joint venture expert. He's spent 15 years of his life in sales, doing joint venture marketing and working on business growth, which is what he also speaks on, is joint ventures and business growth. He is the creator of the $1 Million Partnering System, and he is an author, a speaker, a consultant, and he has trainings that I was just talking about it now with Sohail that takes place every quarter about his joint venture bootcamp. So, Sohail, welcome to Monetize Your Mission.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Now, Sohail, before I go any further, for those who have never come across the term joint venture, could you please explain what that is?
Well, basically what a joint venture is, it's a mutual agreement between 2 or 3 more parties who have complementary resources that they share. So I'll give you a classic example. One example would be a luxury bathroom suite manufacturer and a luxury bathroom tile manufacturer. Now, they sell to the same customer base, but their products are unique in terms of themselves. Both these companies see each other as competitors, but they have the same customer base that they can share, complementary resources. So what I do as a joint venture expert, I would come in and help them put deals together and basically partner these 2 companies together. So that's how a typical joint venture works.
Okay, so you're bringing 2, like a brokerage, right? So you're bringing 2 people together, 2 parties to make a deal.
So what was that?
You're bringing 2 parties together to make a deal. Is that correct?
Yeah, yes, exactly. So just forming strategic partnerships and alliances between companies or even individuals as well.
Okay, super. So now that was a lot. I want to peel back that curtain here.
Sure.
Having that expertise, how did it all start for you? How did you find what you were good at, and why did you start or go into the entrepreneurial space?
Well, it's funny because I originally trained as an accountant. You know, my parents, as you know, it's a cultural thing. They want you to become either a doctor, a lawyer, accountant, or astronaut. So I thought, you know what, I was good at numbers. So I eventually trained and became an accountant. But spending my time working at the accountancy firm, it wasn't really for me. You know, I spent a lot of my time helping other people do things and teaching other people how to use things like the internet. So for me, from day one, it was like I found more excitement in helping other people.
Mm.
So I job as an accountant, and I left my job as an accountant, and then I eventually went into information technology, set up my own company, and I built that business up from nothing to 8 figures using joint venture partnerships. So all I was doing was connecting and reaching out to people who could help us grow the business, help us generate leads, help us grow the business by forming partnerships. And then I eventually sold that business in 2006. I sold a majority stake to a big 150 million IT group. They went bust in 2008. I lost everything. So I went from being a multi-millionaire to totally broke. And then in 2000,
what space of time?
In the space of 6 months, basically.
Wow.
So when we sold the company in 2006, 2008 was when the recession happened, and within this short space of time, I ended up losing my business. The company going from multi-millionaire to totally broke in the short space of time. And then fortunately I set myself a challenge in 2009 to make $1 million in 12 months, and I closed a $1.5 million deal in just 30 days using what I already had, the skills of joint ventures, and that's where I am today.
Okay, so that someone who's listening to that's going, whoa, so how did you find what you were good at? How did that
I'll tell you a story, and how I really figured out what I'm good at, and that's helping people. You know, my motto in life is give first, ask later. And that's what I'm really good at doing. I'm good at going out there and finding partnerships for people, finding resources for people and helping them. and then obviously I get rewarded, and we'll talk about how I monetize that. But I'll tell you a story. My father passed away a few years ago, and my father passed away around 2006, just when my father used to travel abroad all the time, and we used to have commercial properties abroad that my father used to look after. And he retired, and then he used to spend his time abroad 6 months of the year looking after those properties and obviously relaxing also. My mother used to always say to him, you always go abroad 6 months of the year. You're just going to relax and put your feet up, and that's what you do out there. You don't do anything. So I still remember that day, that night. I was scheduled to fly to Glasgow. I had a big meeting in the morning with a company that I was looking to close a deal. And we got a call in the middle of the night, and we were told that my father passed away. He was abroad. And what happened was basically he was complaining of chest pains. They thought it was indigestion. He went upstairs to go and sleep, and obviously never woke up. Oh. So passed away in his sleep. But something that was really interesting was, we had to scramble the next day to get. So we decided that my mum and my older brother and older sister would go and go for his funeral. And then I ended up going there a couple of days later because we couldn't get emergency flights. So when I got to when I got to abroad, it was surreal because I had seen my father leave the house before, and then the next time I saw my father, he was basically 6 feet under, and I was standing over his grave. So to this day, it's still surreal because some of us only saw my father when he left the house, and we never saw him after that. So we're still trying to get our heads around, his passing, because it's difficult for us to comprehend that he's actually gone, but obviously he has. Now, when I went to his house abroad, my father's house, I saw a long line of people all the way down the road, and when I walked in, my mother was there, my brother and sister, and people would come on one to my mother. The first person walked up to my mother and said to my mother, "Look, I'm sorry to hear about your father, your husband. He was a great man. He provided, carpets for the local mosque." The next person would come and say, "Your father was a great man. He put my son through school. My son's now an airline pilot." Another person would come and say, "Your father's, such a great man. He helped us rebuild the local school." Another person would come through and say, "Your father's helped put my son or my daughter through college, and now she's, whatever she is." So it's interesting that my father, whenever he spent his time abroad, he would never tell us what he was doing. He never said to us, "You kids think you are cool in terms of what you're doing. Look what I'm doing." So, my mother always thought that my father was going there just having a holiday, when really he was getting involved in the local community, helping people, and just really, doing whatever he could for people out there without telling any of us. So it was interesting, that day I realized to help people and connect people. And I don't always make money with what I do, but I help as much people as I can. And my belief is, the money comes to you. If you put your intentions out there and go and help as many people as you can. I mean, I have an extraordinary skill in terms of being able to connect people around the world, and to be able to walk into situations and reach people that are unreachable. So I'm very fortunate to have that skill and to be able to do that, what I do. And I monetize it. I make 7 figures a year doing what I do, but I also go out my way to help people when I know that I'm not going to make money, because that's what I like to do. So that's pretty much the story there.
That's beautiful. And to have that legacy from your father, that these people are coming over to just say thank you and give their condolences for the contribution. That's the mission.
It's amazing, and it's like I myself. I mean, I've made millions and lost millions, but
I'm so sorry, Sohail. I completely lost you there.
That's okay. I was just saying that for me, I've made millions and lost millions and made millions, but I don't think I could ever live up to his legacy in terms of what he's done, which is pretty phenomenal. So,
It's completely phenomenal. And when you talk about, what you love to do is build partnerships and help people, from an accountant who was helping people work out the internet, and that's how you kind of thought, I could probably do some kind of teaching or training. Yeah. How did you discover this training called joint venturing and teaching people how to come together and mergers and be mutually beneficial for one another?
Well, it all started from me picking up a book called How to Get Everything You Can Out of All You've Got by a guy called Jay Abraham.
Yes.
And who eventually went on to become my mentor. And he's the guy who taught me how to do joint ventures. And, I attended his program back in 2004, many, many years ago. And he became who are very well known in the space. I mean, Jay Abraham, J. Conrad Levinson of Guerrilla Marketing was one of my mentors. I ended up writing a book with him before he passed away. It was the last Guerrilla Marketing book. So, I've been very fortunate to meet the right people. So, and I think that's what it's all about, surrounding yourself with the right people also.
I think that's so important, especially when you're trying to do something that's beyond or against the grain of where society is heading. So outside of 9 to 5, just like you were in a 9 to 5 as an accountant.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. And I got out of that because I wanted to do something that I felt would be more beneficial to what I'm doing and not be at the mercy of somebody else or, literally help someone else pay their way.
Exactly.
And what I do helps more people because, it's what I'm passionate about.
It's beautiful. But what gave you the confidence or the audacity, Sohail, to make that leap?
I think I've always been a person who something inside me. It was something inside me that I felt that I wasn't in the right place or I wasn't doing the right thing. And I was very fortunate back then to I have my family around me as well. I think it's very important to have a support system. And, it's interesting. Something, Gary, one of my friends actually put on an event yesterday in the UK and brought Gary Vaynerchuk. I've actually been on a podcast with Gary Vaynerchuk, which is very, very cool. But one thing that he said that really, really ingrained in the thinking is, when you're younger, you have the opportunity to go out and do what you want. And make mistakes. So, it's, and it's never too late really to start anything and start any business. It's never too late because where we are right now with the, especially with social media and the access to the platforms that we have to be able to monetize and make money, it's pretty phenomenal. It's
huge. It's incredible. So you started out as an accountant. You had more to do with yourself and your world and your mission. You had this skill called putting people together. You went to a conference, a seminar, learned from a guru, Jay Abraham, took that. And then how did you make that your own, that learning that you sought in that seminar?
Well, I think a lot of it is through implementation into my own business. I took a business from 0 to 8 figures using joint ventures. And then when I lost everything, and then I regained it back again a year later, I was talking about it on social media. And then I started to get invited to speak at events in America. In the US is where I started speaking. So that's what really, really, really took off from there. And then I met 3 guys at a conference seminar in America who took me under their wing. And they partnered with me. We created a program, 12-week program for $5,000. And then we got like 25 people subscribed to it. And it just started from there. We did our first 6-figure program. And then from there, I started to create my program that I do over in the US and over in the UK. I've done it in the Middle East. I've done it in Europe. Australia is one place I haven't done it yet, but fingers crossed. If there's an opportunity, if there's an opportunity, I'm always up for. I've got a lot of fans in Australia as well, which is quite cool. I consistently do those programs. Why I do them? Because there's so many opportunities on the table that I can't do myself. That I give those opportunities to other people. So again, it's helping people to monetize what they do and what I teach them. So it's not just people paying for a program. They come and then they leave and they don't know what to do. I'm providing them with opportunities. So, the biggest thing about my program is I provide people with leads. or I provide people with deals that they can work on to actually get their money back. So I think that's quite unique in itself. I haven't really seen anybody do that out there. And my whole point is to help them. I always say to people who come on my program is the most important thing for me is to make sure you get your money back. So whatever you invest with me, I want to focus position where I can do that, and I can provide them with whatever they need because I have the credibility. I'm one of the top. I'm one of the top joint venture experts in the world. I get opportunities every single day coming into my inbox. So, I need to give that to someone. So that's the reason why I do my programs.
I love that. And just to give background to listeners here, Sohail, what you actually do is you take people in a room, you teach them how to do what you do, which is creating deals. And then you equip them with the skills to go and do that for themselves. So they venture and broker deals and then they monetize it that way.
Yeah. And they can create their own business. They have now an ongoing revenue income stream that they can. I mean, I have a lot of people who come to me that have families, for example, and they want to do something different, and they want to go out and actually work for themselves. So I love working with people like that because I'm a family man myself. My son's a year old, so I'm a recent family man, and I love it. I enjoy it. Yeah, I enjoy it so much. So I like to help people like that because.
And it's interesting. I recall you telling a story once that there was a medical student who was having trouble paying her medical tuition. And she came over to you and you taught her how to do joint venture deals, which she then went and created joint venture deals, monetized it, and was able to pay her medical tuition, her university.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I have many stories like that. I have one guy right now who has 4 kids, 1 baby on the way. Wow. He hasn't even started my boot camp, which is next week in Vegas, but he stressed me that he wanted something from me so he can get started. So I sent him a manual. The manuals I normally give at the boot camp, I sent it to him, a week ahead of the boot camp, and he's already closed his first deal. It's crazy.
Nice.
Yeah, he's really hyper though. I mean, he's from Los Angeles, so they love to. Yeah, they're really hyper. Yeah,
they're hyper. I love that. And I'd love to talk about, because this is where everything turned for you. When you built an 8-figure business, right, and it crashed, and you sold it, and the company crashed in the 2008 downturn. How did you regain your confidence, your passion, to be able to monetize again? Because that's the life of business. It's up and down, but you did something quite unique to get yourself back up again. Could you talk to us about that?
Yeah, so basically what it is there's always opportunities around you, so you have to keep your eyes open. And one thing you have to work on is your mindset. The mindset will allow you to see those opportunities, so you always work on your mindset. And I was very fortunate enough to find a company that had a book that sold over 400,000 copies. It was a book, How to Use Your PC in 2 hours for the baby boomer market. And I managed to do a deal with them where I took the book, converted it into a video course, relicensed it back to them, and we ended up selling just over 201,000 units. And my cut from that was $7.50 a unit. So I walked away with $1.5 million as part of that deal. Yeah.
And that's joint venturing. That's really, because I recall you saying you saw an ad in the paper for the book, and you went to the CEO's office saying, I have a training, a video training, and you did not have anything.
No, I didn't have the product. I just pitched the idea, and they accepted it. Then I went out and created the product, brought it back, licensed it to them. They sold it to the 400,000 customers. Half of them bought it, and then my cut was $7.50 from each one. So yeah.
That's pretty crazy. And I think that's where you're talking about having the mindset to be open to the opportunities, because you just saw an ad in the paper for a book that was a huge, big seller.
Yeah, the crazy thing was what I saw was the actual 400,000 customers that they had. And that's how we work. As joint venture brokers, we look at companies that have resources that we can go and assets that we can leverage. They had a huge list. I thought I could leverage that because 400,000 people have actually bought this book. So I thought if I could sell them something else or upsell them, can I get a cut of that? And that's all it was. Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty... That's testament to your business growth and your acumen for how you can put those things together, and now that you teach it as well.
Yeah.
So sorry, go on. Sorry, Sohail.
Sorry, what was... That's okay. What was the question? What's the next question?
I think because we're just kind of, I think the connection is a bit shaky here. We're losing it a bit. But I wanted to find out, did you ever have a problem? Because I get this question a lot from people about the money issue. When you transitioned from an employee to an entrepreneur, about how to fulfill what you would charge people. Because here you're saying you've got a skill, the charge rate, your consulting rate, your speaking rates, when you went out to broker the deal for the book and having the video training. How did you position, or how did you come to terms with what to charge?
It's a good question. I think what you've got to also look at is what's already in the marketplace. I mean, when you look at pricing, you've got to do comparisons in terms of who's charging what. Now, for example, this might sound crazy, but I charge 30 to 50K a day for consulting, and people pay it. You know, I work with lots of Fortune 500 and Fortune 100 companies. Now, I target them specifically because, you know, they're minimum $50 million turnover. So what is $30,000 to them? It's a drop in the ocean. So my mentor charges $10,000 just for a 1 hour phone call. So I'm quite not there yet, but, you know, I looked at what people in my industry were charging and what I could really get away with. And pricing is a lot of testing. You have to go out and test the market in terms of, and your price is always what people are prepared to pay. You know, with me, for example, I got approached by a company on LinkedIn based in New York. They wanted me to train their team. I said, come to my program. You know, it's X amount per person. And at that time I was doing my program, it was 10K per person for my 3-day boot camp. Now it's changed a lot. But back then they had, I think, 4 people they wanted trained, it would be 40K. The CEO said, well, if you come to us, how much would you charge? And I said, well, okay, I'll give you a discount. I'll charge you 30K. And they accepted it. They paid for my flights. And it was amazing. And that's where it all started for me. You know, I started from there when the first client paid me $30,000 for 1 day's consulting. And that was my benchmark. After that, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to work for less than $30,000 a day.
That's incredible. That's incredible. I love that. And so you do go actively, and this is where it comes in terms of, so your monetization, Sohail, if we were going to now to drill down on that, is that you do, well, before I get even listed, I'd like you to tell me, how do you monetize what you do?
I've got 3 different areas I monetize. One is consulting, which is what I do and I charge for on a day rate. I have brokering. Brokering basically could be a retainer up front, or I could take a percentage of a deal. And then I have my training and boot camps. So I have 3 different areas of my business that generate 7 figures a year.
Fantastic. And do you do any kind of one-on coaching, or that's just only?
I used to do that, but it's so much. I mean, I had one guy offer me 100K to coach him for 12 months. I'm a family man as well, and you know, I have a young son now as well, so I don't want to commit to working, you know, 24/7. So the one-on-one coaching I don't do anymore, but the group coaching I do via my boot camps. So people who come to the boot camp get 3 days of training, plus they get like 60 days of mentoring in my private mastermind group. So that's all offered within the actual boot camp program.
Okay, fantastic. So we've got consulting, we've got training, and we've got JV brokering.
Yeah, correct.
And that's the 3 things. If someone were to ask you, Sohail, and I know you probably when you're training people, you're getting people from all walks of life coming to your trainings, learning how to be a JV broker, a joint venture broker. Do you ever talk to people or ask them about how you found your passion, and then how you would give that information or advice of someone to find theirs?
I always do. You know, my passion was traveling. Right, the biggest passion for me is if someone could pay for my holidays, okay, how could I do that? Me to travel extensively, and in essence, other people are paying for my travel. You know, I get on a plane regularly. I travel around the world, and one thing that I was passionate about at the beginning was the speaking. You know, I always wanted to go out and speak. So when I got invited to speak, I was doing that for a couple of years, and that was my passion. And I found that, you know, I love to go out and speak. I got paid to speak. You know, I would travel. I was literally jumping on planes every week, going to different places around the world, speaking. But after a while, you know, I got married. Things changed. My wife joined me. You know, my wife would always come with me wherever we would go, whether it was speaking or, you know, whether I'd go to mastermind trips. And then obviously recently, you know, now we have our little son Harry. This is little Harry. Yeah. Now with Harry, it's like, you know, we like to spend more time with him. So again, I can coordinate my lifestyle around my business. So that's the great thing about doing what I do.
That's just, and I know that your mission and something that really keeps you in the game is your family. Would that be true?
Sorry, can you repeat that question?
So that the mission behind what you're doing is really, you know, propelled by your family to be a family man and be around, which is why you turned down a coaching client.
Yeah, exactly. And it's I want to enjoy my family life and at the same time have my family enjoy what I do as well. So yeah, a lot of the stuff that I do is all it's a lifestyle business now for me. You know, and the days are gone when I built an empire many years ago and I sold that empire. So I don't want to do the empire building again.
And why? Why is that, Sohail?
It's just time consuming. You know, when you're running a company with like 25 staff and then you're also fellow directors, it's very, very time consuming. And I did that when I was single and I really enjoyed it. But I think now in terms of we don't need the money, to be honest with you. We're financially stable, but I enjoy doing what I do because it gets me to still travel and enjoy myself. And whenever we go to the US, you know, we have a place in Malibu. We always go and visit Dubai for 2 years. So we enjoyed living in Dubai. We lived in Thailand. We lived in America, and now we're back here in the UK because of my son. Because, you know, education-wise, it's the best place for him. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay. And what would you tell advice? I mean, because you came from, you know, in that our backgrounds, which is to be, you know, well respected, be a doctor, be a lawyer, be an engineer, any one of those things, and then you go into becoming an accountant, and then you change that around doing something else. What advice would you give your younger self? Would you have started earlier, or would you have just taken the same?
Oh, without a doubt. I think my younger self, I would have said, you know what, invest more money in things like property and what have you. So, because I was making so much money back then, I was just spending money on fancy cars and, you know, Ferraris and Lamborghinis, and I lived in a big 12-bedroom mansion. And it was different. I didn't have, I know. I mean, if you see some pictures of me on the internet, you'll see the places that I used to live. I was different. You know, I've changed a lot. You know, when I lost everything for me, you know, it changed my way of life. It made me more humble. You know, I still like the fancy cars and the big houses, what have you. But it's not a priority for me. You know, it's not on my bucket list because I've done it.
Yes.
Yeah, we used to have a private jet as well. You know, the group that bought my company, we had all the trappings of success. But now it's different. You know, one thing I say to people is instead of collecting material possessions, collect experiences. You know, in your life, that's what you should be doing because you can share those experiences with your grandchildren, your family, your children. So spend your life collecting experiences. So you know, you can talk to people about them and. I love doing that. Wherever I travel, I love sitting down listening to people about their lives, about what they're doing, and I love sharing. I've got so many stories; it's unbelievable. And we could probably do the whole based on some really, really cool stories. And that's what I like. You know, I like telling stories. I like people. I love people. I'm a people person, and if I'm
So I recall a little while back when you and I were speaking, Sohail, you were telling me a story about your friend, which completely struck me. Your friend who was about to make a $1 billion deal.
Yeah.
Could you tell us that? Because that's when you said that to me, it still rings in my ear.
Well, basically, you know, I've been through a lot in my life, and I've realized that money is not the be-all and end-all. So you should never focus your whole life trying to pursue the wealth or trying to, you know, if your aim in life is to become a millionaire, it's not a great aim or objective to have really, because you can live like that. You can live like a millionaire without being one. But the story I'll tell you, you know, one of my best friends was basically worth more than me. I mean, I was worth 10 million at that time. He was worth close to probably 100 million. And he lost his fortune around about the same time as me. You know, he was in the oil business, oil trading. And while I was trying to get I was just focused on having a better life, you know, and doing what I could with what I already have. I spent a lot of time making new friends, getting back in touch with my family. And I spent the years doing that, going out, enjoying myself, speaking around the world, having fun. He put his head down and just worked consistently trying to get back to where he was. But because he was in an elitist industry, a lot of his peers actually became billionaires. And that was his aim in life, was to be a billionaire. So we would only meet like once or twice a year in London, have a meal, and then he'd be off on a diplomatic mission somewhere, working abroad. I'd be doing what I do, speaking abroad. So this is a couple of years now. We met as we usually do. It was Pizza Express in St. John's Wood, which is in London, a beautiful place of London, and a very affluent place. And we would have lunch. We had lunch there, and he said to me, "I'm very close to closing this deal." Wanted to be at a stage where he could close the deal. So he said to me, "What do you want?" He goes, "You're my best friend. If I close this deal, I want to buy you a gift." I said, "Look, I'm okay. I don't need anything. I'm fine with what I already have." He said, "Look, what do you like? Would you like a new yacht? Would you like do you want me to buy you a nice place?" Or I said, "No, I'm fine. Look, seriously." I said, he said, "Look, you like cars?" He said, what would you like?" He goes, "Do you like the Bugatti Veyron?" And that was like $1 million car. He said, "Okay, I'm going to get you a Bugatti Veyron." I said, "Look, just whatever you want to do. I don't mind, but I'm not really fussed." He said, "Okay, I'm going to get you a Bugatti Veyron, a black one. What color would you like the piping for the leather? Red, gold?" He gave me so much detail. I mean, he had fancy cars anyway, and he lived in a fancy place. So he had properties abroad as well. So he said, "If I close this deal, I'm going to order that for you." So, a couple of days later, he contacts me and says, "Deal's done. We're just waiting for the paperwork to come through, but I'm now, I can call myself a billionaire." And he said, "By the way, your Bugatti's on order, and I'll hand you the keys next time I see you." A couple of days after that, I had a phone call from his brother, and his brother said to me, "Where are you, Sohail?" I said, I'm in the US right now." He said, "Okay, are you standing or sitting?" I said, "I'm standing." He goes, "Look, sit down. I've got something to tell you." He said to me, "My brother Mitz passed away yesterday." And I was like, "What?" I said, "What do you mean he passed away?" I said, I just had dinner with him like a few days ago in London." He said, "Well, he came back. He was in Nigeria. He was closing some deals. He came back, and he was talking about, he must have ate something because he had really bad indigestion, and he took a couple of indigestion tablets, and went to sleep. The next day, he had a massive heart attack on the way back in a taxi from his office, and died. And he was 35 years old. And it shows to show you that he spent all this time trying to become rich again with all the stress he had. And the really sad thing was, at his funeral, I was there at his funeral, and his mother and his brother came up to me and said to me, "How was he? Did he have any problems?" Because we thought he was fine. And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, one thing, we never hardly saw him. We only saw him once a year, and he would come and he would visit us, and that was it. And we don't know what he was up to or how he was. And you're his best friend. Obviously, surely you must have kept in touch." I said, "Yeah, we kept in touch, but I only saw him twice a year." So it's a very, very sad state. I actually took part in his burial. I buried him, and it was a very sad day, because he was my best friend. And he was the one really who brought me into the world of, a different world altogether, where my mindset was, I can be bigger than what I am. Take me to all these lavish parties, would let me drive his Ferrari, would let me drive his Bentley. So he was one of my best friends, and it opened my eyes up to what is possible and what you could achieve. And he's gone, he's gone now. So it's a really sad.
It's crazy, Sohail, because the fact that he got to his aim but wasn't able to enjoy it. It was like days later.
Yeah, very sad. And it's like, I remember his brother said to me at the funeral that his brother said to me, "I've got the keys to the car." I said to him, "Look, I can't take it. I'm not gonna take something from someone who's passed away. I'm not gonna drive this car and remember my friend who spent his time trying to become rich and wealthy." And I said, "Look, you guys keep it, do whatever you want with it." And yeah, but it was very sad for me. I lost my father a few years before. I lost my best friend a couple of years after, and it was difficult.
So the moral, Sohail, what you're saying, the moral of the story is not, the moral
Yeah,
is not to focus on the money.
yeah. But like
From
I say,
yeah.
yeah. Don't collect material. Don't collect material possessions. Collect experiences. Go out there and do things that are really cool. That so many people wait. I hear people say, I'm hustling, I'm grinding to
Yeah.
get me this big house, to get my Lamborghini, and it's like 5 years later, it's like, what have you been doing? You've just been hustling and grinding. Have you done anything else in your life that you can talk about with me and tell me what you've done? Or any cool experiences? And the answer is no. So yeah, don't waste your time, because anything could happen tomorrow. So, monetize what you have to. Go out and make your money. If you have goals and objectives to be successful, be successful. But at the same time, don't lose touch with the people around you and people who love you. So
That's an incredible story. And he was only 35. I mean,
yeah, it blows your mind, man.
it really does. It really does. Do you find yourself, when you go into places where you're teaching your material and you're talking about what you're doing, do you find that a lot of people are focusing on, they come to your workshops just to make the money? Do you kind of have to pull them back and work on that mindset shift?
Well, to be honest with you, I've had people who say to me, can I make $1 million in 30 days? And people like that, they won't come onto my boot camp, because what I'm trying to teach is something that's sustainable, something that allows you to do business anywhere in the world. Now, what I do, you can drop me anywhere in the world with nothing, not even a laptop, and I'll go and create business, because I just go and find people who have the resources already and put business together. Now, when we lived in Dubai for 2 years, I semi-retired, took time off, got too bored, ended up setting up a publishing company for my wife in Dubai with no knowledge of the local market, no knowledge of how things operate in the Middle East. And we built that business to 6 figures, and we sold it. So it allows you the potential to do anything in your life and have the flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
The business allows you to, and you can make good money from it. I've had brokers make 7 figures. I've had some of my brokers make 6 figures. So one of my brokers this week closed a deal with I think a $10 million company. So yeah,
Hello.
you can do whatever. Yeah, so you can do whatever you want with it.
So, and I love that. And that's all to do with JV brokerage. It's about learning your system of how to, and I love that you don't even need the internet. You don't even need a connection. You just go and find people and bring them
and talk to people. So you've got to be a good communicator. You've got to enjoy talking to people. You have to be a people person to enjoy what you do. So that's what the whole business is based on. And you can do it online as well if you want to. If you can do it, you can do it over Skype if you want to do it. I'm a person who likes to get out and meet people, so that's why I like it.
And I love that, Sohail, because you've also are very generous and are giving our viewers a free gift. So to learn more about your work, could you please tell us about your free gift and how to get that?
Well, what I'm going to give you guys is all the training that I've done, that I've put on. Is access to all the training videos that I've done over the past couple of years, and they're all in one place. If you go to www.milliondollarpartneringclub.com, you can go there. There's a tab that says free training, and I think I've got over 15, 20 videos there, or 15, 20 different training video courses there that you guys can actually watch and implement. Some people have watched some of my training videos and gone out and done JVs without coming on my program and made money. So you don't have to come on my bootcamp if you don't want to. If you can go out and implement what you see for free and you make money from it, I'd love to have you back at my bootcamp, because then I could really, really help you. But hey, you don't have to come to my bootcamp. You can still make money by watching the videos out there that I've got on that site.
And that's just your generosity coming through. And that's just, you're living through, give first before you ask. That's
exactly.
You are doing that. And guys, that I can't recommend that highly enough, because Sohail has been so generous. I checked out the site. There is a bundle of free video training about how to put JVs together, exactly what Sohail's talking about. So by all means, guys, go check that out. And the link for what Sohail was just talking about is in the emails that we've just sent you and next to this interview as well. So check that out. And Sohail, before I let you go, I want us to end with one specific question. And that is that, I guess when you say that it's not about the money and that's what it's all about, people, when I talk to people, and every one of us on the planet wants to make a difference.
Yeah, sure.
But it doesn't make us human if we don't. We all want to be some capacity to make a contribution. Would you suggest that, and I get this question a lot from clients and people asking me, is what's the balance? What's the balance between going for being on course to your mission, your cause, your family, and the struggle between trying to generate that consistent revenue? Because business owners talk to me all the time. They make money, but once in a while. What's the balance of time, of effort, of energy and commitment so that you're not you're not losing face or we're losing track of the monetization, but at the same time you're also living your mission as well?
I think what it is find something that works and do it again and again until it stops working. And then also find something that works that's scalable, and then put things in place. If you want to do it yourself, you do it yourself. If not, you bring other people in, like I do. I've got a lot of deals on the table. I could do them all myself and spend every hour of the day, but I don't do that. I'm now training other people to do those deals for me. They can do their own deals, but also I'm making it more. I'm being more clever because I don't have employees, which I don't want anymore. But I have consultants and brokers who don't work for me indirectly. They're independent, but I give them deals, and we split that on a 50-50 basis. So they get to make money. They do all the work. I get 50% because I provide them with the deals. Any deals they go and provide themselves, they keep 100% of that. So just that's a good way to do it.
Fine. And I think one of the ways that you've done that is actually to go find a mentor, someone who could show you the ropes. Would that not be true?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And find someone who you can learn from. Find someone. Don't reinvent the wheel. Find someone who's already doing what you want to do, and just learn from them.
Fantastic. And you're testament to it because you still have a mentor. You still have someone coaching you.
I still have several mentors. Yeah.
Even though you've made your multi-millions, you're doing it consistently, you're still in the game of learning, which speaks volumes that it's evolving. Your education in entrepreneurialism is constantly. Sohail, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciated this, even though we've had a bit of a struggle and shaky internet connection here, or I don't know what's going on with this technology today. But I want to say thank you so much, and especially for your generosity of providing those library of training that you're going to provide, especially in that link, guys. Seriously, it's really, this guy is generous, and he speaks from give first before you ask. And so for that, I thank you so dearly, Sohail, for joining us. It's been a pleasure having you. And what's next for you, Sohail? Absolutely.
I think a brother or sister for Harry. That's what's next.
Oh, that's beautiful. And I love that. We can end on that because that's the mission. That's exactly. Gorgeous. Sohail, thank you. Thank you so much. And guys, we'll see you on the very, very next episode of Monetizing Mission. Catch you soon.
Okay.